I'm Blake Kingsley, and from the street my life looked bulletproof. A glass-walled penthouse over Charlotte, a wife who could stop traffic, and a family billion-dollar furniture brand with my brother Adrian smiling on magazine covers. What no one saw was the part that mattered. While Adrian played CEO for the cameras, I ran Kingsley Interiors. I'd grown up in the factories, knew every machine, every supplier, every clause in our contracts. My father, quietly shrewd, let Adrian be the face and made me the spine. The controlling shares, the patent royalties, the vetoes on major moves. Mine. Publicly, Adrian shook hands. Privately, I made the numbers add up. Marissa, my wife, loved the view and the name on the invitations. At galas, she lit up when Adrian arrived, laughing at jokes that had died in 7th grade. I called it paranoia until the signs stacked up like invoices. Adrian says we should became the chorus to every conversation. The crash came on a Thursday. I just finished 14 hours of putting out a supplier fire. I opened the door to our white leather living room and found Marissa waiting with a manila envelope and a practiced smile. "I'm leaving you," she said. "Adrian and I are together. You'll get the papers tomorrow." Then she slid a crisp $100 bill across the glass table. "Book a cab to your parents' place." I didn't throw anything. I didn't beg. I poured a drink, slept, and at 7 a.m., called the most dangerous person I know, Miriam Cross, corporate attorney and human. Scalpel. By noon, I was in her office with my father's will, stock certificates, patent assignments, and the buried clause that made me, on paper and in practice, the real chief executive. Miriam read, smiled like a shark, and said, "Let's have some fun." 3 weeks later, we met in the conference room. Marissa's lawyer, Richard Hartwell, used to intimidate rich defendants. Mahogany, skyline, leather chairs that squeaked when judgment fell. Adrian swaggered in first. Marissa followed, flawless and smug. Hartwell smoothed his tie. They were here to divide my assets. Before anyone could posture, Marissa performed her flourish. Same Hermes bag I'd bought her, same bill. She slid a $100 across the table and purred, "Call yourself a cab, Blake." Miriam laughed, loud, delighted, and set a 3-inch folder between us. "Before we talk division," she said, "a clarification about what exists to divide." She turned the first document to Hartwell. "Blake Kingsley is the controlling owner and chief executive of Kingsley Interiors. Adrian is an at-will employee and public representative." Silence. Adrian's smile curdled. Marissa blinked like the room had tilted. "That's not," Adrian began. Miriam laid out the cards. Bylaws, share registry, my father's notarized will, the patent assignments for our 3 top lines. 68% voting control sits with Blake, she said. All executive authority flows from that. Adrian's compensation is discretionary. So are the penthouse and vehicles, which are corporate property assigned to Blake's role, not marital property. Marissa made a small, involuntary sound. "We live there. I paid for renovations. With company funds, authorized by my client," Miriam replied. "Blake essentially allowed you to redecorate his corporate housing." Hartwell tried to rally. "Temporary support." "Prenuptial agreement," Miriam said, already sliding it over. "Infidelity voids alimony. Access to corporate accounts and perks is revoked effective now. 7 days to vacate the penthouse. The Mercedes returns to the fleet today." Adrian went pale. Marissa's composure cracked. I took out my wallet, peeled off 520s, and set them beside her 100. "Cab fare to wherever you're staying now," I said. "Consider it severance." 2 days later, I did what I should have done years ago. I removed Adrian. The board didn't argue. Several directors said finally out loud. Our CFO laughed. Operations sighed with relief. The stock ticked up 3 points on the news I'd formerly taken the chair. The headlines wrote themselves. The real power behind Kingsley. When nepotism backfires, investors called to congratulate. Employees started volunteering ideas without looking over their shoulders. The company felt lighter, sharper, faster. Adrian tried to start a studio with a logo and no plan. Suppliers he once assumed would fawn asked for cash up front. Investors wanted specifics, deals he'd negotiated, products he'd built, systems he'd run. He had none. He tried to poach our people. They asked one question, "Who's handling the business?" and walked. 8 months later, his lease ended and the website vanished. Marissa discovered how quickly a social circle evaporates when the card on file stops working. The country club cut off the account. The regular table disappeared. She landed a job selling the kind of dresses she used to post about. Word around town said she was good at it. No one hustles a sale like someone who's lived on the other side of the counter, but the invitations dried up. I didn't gloat. I built. We opened in Denver, Nashville, and Austin. Researched, not guessed. New production lines cut costs 18% while improving quality. We replaced our inventory system, tuned shipping, renegotiated with vendors who appreciated speaking to someone who actually knew what a kiln schedule was. Turnover fell. Meeting energy rose. For the first time in years, all hands didn't feel like hostage negotiations. Then we did something Adrian would have called soft. We launched the Kingsley Community Foundation to furnish homes for families moving from shelters into permanent housing. Full rooms, not photo ops, beds, tables, sofas, the makings of a life. 200 homes in 6 months. The local press showed up. So did the tax benefits. But the real dividend was pride. Our people built beautiful things, and now they watched those things matter. 6 months on, I finally moved into the office with the skyline view. This time because the title matched the work. I started seeing Sarah, a marketing CEO who knows the grind because she lives it. She's impressed by what I build, not by what I can buy. Adrian calls sometimes around holidays with the family first pitch. I let them go to voicemail. Marissa tried anger, then bargaining, then nostalgia. I stayed polite and busy. Here's the lesson I wish someone had told me earlier. Power doesn't always look like a headline or a corner office. Sometimes it's quiet signatures in the right places and the discipline to use them sparingly until it's time not to. When the masks finally slip, a $100 bill won't save anyone who bet on the facade instead of the foundation. My company, my name, my rules, and we're just getting started.